once-in-a-generation opportunity to reshape the Middle East to their advantage.
He also said the risk of an attack by violent extremists in Afghanistan on American and Western interests abroad is increasing. Officials in Texas say power lines ignited massive wildfires across the state's Panhandle region that destroyed homes and killed thousands of livestock last week. Texas A&M Forest Service said Thursday that investigators concluded power lines ignited the Smokehouse Creek and Windy Dews fires. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 130 points, the Nasdaq rose 241, the S&P 500 up by 52. More at townhall.com.
Are you tired of the ups and downs of the stock market? Are you sick of logging into your brokerage account only to find out that you've lost hundreds or thousands of dollars in a single day? At MarketBeat, we know that constantly moving in and out of stocks, hoping to get lucky, is a loser's game. Buying hot stocks after they've already shot up in value is a recipe for disaster. It's time to stop playing the loser's game and invest in stocks that have shown they can stand the test of time. MarketBeat has prepared a free report titled 7 Stocks to Buy and Hold Forever, and we would like to text it to you for free. Text the word profit to 68285. The companies in this report might appear to be nothing special at first glance, but these companies print billions of dollars of cash each year in profit. If you would like to receive our free report of 7 stocks to buy and hold forever, simply text profit to 68285 and we'll text you this report instantly. Text profit to 68285 and we'll send you this free report right now. Text the word profit to 68285.
Standard message and data rates may apply. Please consult with your investment or tax professional. 5.
Here's the Wall Street Business Report.
Stocks rose to another record with easier interest rates beckoning on the horizon. Treasury yields eased after the Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell says it's not far from delivering the cuts to interest rates that Wall Street craves. Powell reaffirmed the Fed's position that cuts may start this year if inflation continues cooling. Traders are also trying to guess when the European Central Bank will cut rates after it left them alone on Thursday. The Dow was up 130 points to close at 38,791. The Nasdaq gained 241 to 16,273. The S&P 500 added 52 points to 5157. New York oil fell 20 cents to 78.93 per barrel. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm John Scott.
News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith P.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. The clouds roll in. We'll have an overnight low of 50. Tomorrow, increasing cloudiness throughout the day with a slight 20% chance we get some late afternoon rain. Our high will reach 70. Now, Saturday, well, it's ugly. Rain all day long, while Sunday is nicer. A blend of sun and a few clouds, a high of 67. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point. Ooh, I like when you press that one.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut, Chris Bergen, and Pat Daniel. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil, Chris, and Pat with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. It is good to be with you once again. Phil Kornblut from the home studio, getting a little bit better by the day. Hope to be back in the studio probably next week. No sense pushing it tomorrow night. And we're making progress, being able to talk, being able to be understood, being able to breathe, all these things that you have to work your way through, and we're getting there. So we're glad to be with you again tonight. Chris Bergen is with the Coastal Carolina basketball team, and they lost this afternoon in their game, their second game of the Sun Belt tournament. Now, they fell to Louisiana 80-66, so that concludes their season with a record of 9-22, 5-13 in the Sun Belt. Easily led them today with 14 points and 11 rebounds. So now the focus on Coastal becomes who becomes the new head basketball coach, replacing Cliff Ellis. Do they stay in-house? Do they turn it over to Benny Moss, make him the full-time head coach? Chris Bergen would agree with that. He thinks Benny Moss is an excellent coach. Or do they need to go another direction? Go outside what they've had the last 13 years or so. Bring in some new blood. We know B.J. Mackey is interested in the job. For one, I imagine it's an appealing job to a lot of people. You can win at Coastal Carolina. Cliff Ellis did that. And, I think there's things that need to be done. I don't know what they can do about their arena. They should do something about their arena for that level of basketball. From an arena standpoint, it's not suitable. It's just not suitable. It's like a big high school gym. They can do better than that. I mean, the building's beautiful, and the things it provides to students, those are excellent. So maybe they need to build a new arena, 3,500, 4,000 seats, and just turn that over to the students. I don't know. It's not my money, but I can spend it for them. They got plenty of it down there. So the search is now going to be going on full speed ahead. Matt Hogue, the athletics director, leading that search for a new basketball coach at Coastal Carolina. So the Chanticleers are done for the season. Of course, last night, South Carolina, Tennessee. Heck of a ball game. Sold out arena. Both teams laid it on the line. I mean, there was no give up either way. Disappointing loss for South Carolina for sure because of what the Gamecocks had a chance to attain with a win, and then a win at Texas at Mississippi State on Saturday. They'd be SEC regular season champions. Pretty big deal. But, it wasn't, in my eyes, the Gamecocks did exactly what they needed to do to win that ball game. They just didn't do enough of it. Once again, they made Tennessee play their game, not the other way around. Tennessee's probably the more talented team, probably the deeper team. But for 2 games this season, South Carolina made Tennessee play the way they wanted to play the game, which was at a certain pace and with a certain level of defense. Now, Tennessee answered because they played great defense as well. They hampered South Carolina's shooters all night. Gamecocks did not have a comfortable shooting night to me. I had to watch on television. Very disappointed I couldn't be there. Love to be at those kind of games with something on the line and the huge crowds. But they did not give South Carolina's shooters good looks much of the night. And the Gamecocks forced a lot of deep threes, quick threes. A little unusual for them for the most part. Finally, late in the game, they started driving the ball. They got some baskets. They drew some fouls. And, of course, was there a foul at the end? Was there a foul at the end on Cooper's shot? Or was it a good no call? I mean, I really couldn't see the contact to be severe enough to where a foul deserved to be called. But I would not have argued if a foul had been called. Or they could have called a foul on Cooper for initiating the contact. That's how close it was. So, disappointing night for South Carolina. A game like that, you got to have a lot of people playing together at the same time at a very high level. And you got a bunch of people playing together very hard level, but they all didn't play at a very high level at the same time. And I think Lamont Paris pretty much admitted to that in his post-game comments. And you'll hear from Lamont Paris coming up tonight on the program what he had to say about that. So, tough loss for the Gamecocks, one they would have loved to have stuffed into the win column. Now they go to Mississippi State, and they don't need to have the old hangover. They need to go take care of business there against Mississippi State, a team they can beat, though going down to the hump, never an easy trip for any team for that matter. Mississippi State normally makes it pretty difficult on opponents, and South Carolina's just got to put this one behind them. They can't afford. I mean, you lose on Saturday, then you put yourself in position of maybe not making the top four and making the double bye in the SEC tournament. And that would be disappointing for them. It wouldn't destroy them by any means, but it would be disappointing because the double bye means so much. After last night's games, of course, Tennessee clinches. They're 14-3, and they'll host Kentucky Saturday. Kentucky and Alabama and Auburn are all 12-5, along with South Carolina. So those four are 12-5, and then Florida's 11-6. So the Gamecocks have the tiebreaker with Kentucky. They don't have the tiebreaker with Alabama or Auburn. So, of course, best case scenario for them is that they win at Texas A&M and the others lose, and then they just move on up and they'll be in the top four and they'll get that double bye. But they got to take care of their business down in Starkville on Saturday afternoon. All right, but it was a good game and exciting game. And I tell you, Lamont Paris and his staff done a great job. They get the most out of those players. And I think with the core he's got coming back and who he's already got committed coming in, I think the future looks very, very bright, very, very bright for Gamecock men's basketball. Like to get your thoughts on that. Anything else you want to talk about? Phone number 888-898-2525. In fact, we're going to let you talk a lot, as much as possible, so I don't have to talk as much. I'll try to avoid that, and we'll go to your calls in just a second. Did want to point out two things in baseball this afternoon. South Carolina and Clemson announcing their pitching rotations for their series coming up this weekend. And South Carolina does not have Roman Kimball in their starting rotation for this weekend series against Longwood. They've left their Sunday to be announced. I don't know why. I've reached out. No word back. I don't know why that's the case. If he has a bit of an arm thing going. He had an arm issue all of last year. Or if they're just undecided on who they want to throw on Sunday. And then Clemson is putting Austin Gordon back into their starting rotation. Thought that might be the case when they changed things up yesterday and started the former weekend starter who didn't pitch against South Carolina. And so now they're going to put Austin Gordon back into the rotation. He had been in the rotation, of course, last year, and he had a little bit of a tired arm, and so they gave him a little bit of a break to start this season. Didn't have him in the weekend rotation, but he did pitch on the midweek side of things. And in his place, at that time, was, I got to come up with his name, Billy Barlow. Billy Barlow. Yeah. So Billy Barlow now is moving out of the rotation, and Austin Gordon is moving back into the rotation. And Gordon had been one of their main guys, of course, last year, part of that young group of starters that the Tigers had last season. They're counting on, that experience from last year to be beneficial for them this season. So he'll be back in the starting rotation this coming weekend. Okay, let's see. Let me update a couple of other things. Got the SEC tournament, day number 2 going on in Greenville. Couple of games this afternoon. Texas A&M beat Mississippi State 72-53. So Texas A&M will play South Carolina at noon tomorrow. Tennessee beat Kentucky 76-62. Right now, Arkansas leads Auburn 11-10. And the ACC tournament today, Miami beat North Carolina 60-59. think that's the only game they've played today that I can tell. All right. So let's go ahead and take some phone calls. We're going to hear from Dabo Sweeney, who met with the media. Too late for us to get it on last night. He met with the media last night after practice, talking about their first week of practice. We'll bring that to you. We'll hear from Lamont Paris. But for the most part, we want to get your thoughts on last night's game, what it means for South Carolina moving forward. Talk about the USC women playing tomorrow, opening up SEC play. Anything else you want to touch on, that's good. 888-898-2525. Josh Cohen back at our studios in downtown Columbia. And Gamecock Larry losing wagers by the day. Gamecock Larry, welcome in. How are you, sir?
19 points to 5 at the foul line. Need I say any more? Need I say any more?
Well, you do have to drive the basketball sometimes to get fouled. You know, attack the basket, get fouls. That's kind of how it works.
And every time Tennessee drove the basketball and missed, a foul was called against the Gamecocks. Need I say any more?
Was that a
I tell you,
in your humble opinion? In your humble opinion, was Talon Cooper fouled on that last-second three-point attempt?
Yes, he was, but you know what? I didn't want the referee to call him because, I mean, what difference did that make at the time? They was ahead of us.
No.
So
That would have he'd have had the chance to go to the line.
No, I thought we was more than 3 points behind at that time.
I don't think so, but go ahead.
Okay, I might have been wrong. But I'm telling you, I mean, I'm not blaming the officials, but 19 points on the foul line, 14 more points than the game cuts down. Need I say any more, Mr. Field?
You really don't.
You know, yes, sir. I'm going to say it. I'm going to tell it like it is. The officials did not let the Gamecocks play the basketball they played. Michie Johnson got fouled more times when he drove, but they didn't call it. I think they called 2 fouls. And I tell you what, I'm not one that always blame the officials, but I'm gonna tell you what. Okay, let's get another way you're going, Mr. Phil.
Yes, sir.
If we face Tennessee in the SEC conference games, if we meet Tennessee, we will beat them by 7.
I don't think Tennessee wants to see that.
We're going to take the officials out of the game. We're going to take the officials out of the game, and we're going to show them.
I don't think Tennessee wants to see the Gamecocks anymore.
I know they don't.
I mean, seriously.
I know they don't. We good. Yes, sir. I got my coupons. Any way you want to go. 7 points, Gamecocks. Well,
7 points. 7 points for which game? If they play Tennessee again?
If they play Tennessee again, we'll beat them by 7 points or more. 7 points or more. And that connect. We're going to let them get us 30 or 35. We're going to hold the other 4 to about 27.
He's awfully good, isn't he?
That's, as long as we get rid of them old. You know good well, man. And then that official want to go over there, check the monitor after the game's already been there. But that's just throwing, what do you call it? That shows you the officials didn't know what in the world was going on.
Oh, you mean that last-second dunk? Nah. You mean when they were checking to see if that was any good?
Okay, yeah. I'm just having fun arguing with Mr. Field. And I want to talk a little bit so he won't have to talk too much. So Where's my buddy Pat? I ain't heard from Pat lately. You ain't done to run him off, have you?
Pat's on a limited schedule with us, so he works the
Oh,
middle.
okay.
He works the middle days.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
All right.
okay, so I hope you feel
Thank
better
you.
and hope
Yeah.
you get the kicking going there. Because, we going to win Saturday afternoon. We going to win. And then the Gamecocks, you know what? Out of about 116 games of 3 losses, I believe it's about time, but I hope not. You know what I mean? Go Gamecocks. Talk to you later.
You gonna watch the Lady Gamecocks tomorrow? You gonna watch them? I'm sorry, not Lady Gamecocks. The Gamecocks. The Gamecock women.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna watch them, and you know what? Texas A&M, you don't even need to show up. Go Gamecocks. Talk to you later. Love all
Thank
y'all.
you, Larry. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Larry. Don't even need to show up, Texas A&M. Just stay in the hotel. Enjoy the beauty of downtown Greenville. No reason to cross the street and go to the arena. Let's go to Chris Bergen. I'm just getting the word that he's connected with us. Good evening, sir. Good evening, good evening, good evening.
Yeah, just got back.
No.
There goes his internet.
Second round.
No, there he is.
Connected but not connected. You got a little Wang Yang going. Yeah.
The Wi-Fi in the hotel, maybe it's not strong enough, and I'll get back connected with you shortly.
Yeah, do that, buddy. Do that. In the meantime, let's go to Hank in Columbia for the next amazing phone call on Sports Talk. Hank, welcome in. It's good to have you with us.
Hey, Corn. Went to the game last night. Tough game. I heard you get on and you was talking about Tennessee's defense, and it was good. Tennessee's defense is good. You need to remember your hometown school, because in the second half, Carolina held Tennessee to under like 20. I think Derek Scott said it was either under 28 or under 22% shooting in the second half for Tennessee.
Yep.
And actually outscored them. And I think that's how all the narrative got going with the refs, because the bulk of what Tennessee scored in the second half came from the free throw line.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think they cut it to help them only 2 threes in the second half. And it seemed like every time South Carolina was getting close or about to take over, here came the whistle. And so that sent them to the line, and Tennessee made, I think 19 to 21 free throws or something. I think Carolina only shot 10 and made 5. But I think that's where it came. I'm not saying that the officials paused the game, but I'm just saying I think that's where you got so much narrative, because when Cooper took that 3, there were fouls that they had just called on the other side that were out there just for somebody bumping somebody up near the 3, and he didn't get the call. But I more faulted the game on, we needed to make a couple of more threes. When we shot 29, there were a couple of more out there that we normally make that we missed, and like you said, we took some that were rushed. The 3-point foul shot where Davis Fowler got the 3-point line and gave him a 4-point play, and then missing those 5 free throws. But I just want to credit our guys, because everybody came and said that's a number 1 seed. This morning they still have them touted as a number 1 seed. And for 2 games, Carolina went toe-to-toe with them, splitting the games. And so if that don't tell you the team isn't legit, nothing will. And in a game as big as that, Tennessee wanted to get away from. You looked at that press conference with Barnes, and he was like, he didn't want no more Carolina. He said, "Don't go away. They were tough, and he would rather play somebody else in the third game than us." So I just want to credit the guys there, because they just would not quit, would not back down. The energy in that building was crazy all the way to the end of the game, Corn. I mean, it was.
Well, I could feel it. I could feel it through the television. And look, as I mentioned to Larry, Cooper takes that three-pointer. They're only down 4, 28 seconds to go.
Oh yeah, that was a big play. I don't know what I'm not sure if Larry kept up with it.
Yeah,
but
if he knocks it down, they're in a position to foul and then maybe come back and have a chance to tie. I don't know. Again, I'm not so sure I would have called a foul there.
Corn, they got to call. Corn, they call that all year long. You've seen players against us that we told. I've heard you on here saying you can't leave your feet near a three-point shooter like that because if you jump up and you go into him, it's a three-point shot.
Well, or it could have been an offensive foul. It could have been an offensive foul. They could have said it was on him because he did lean into the defender. He was probably the one who initiated the contact.
He jumped up and took Corn. He jumped up and took that shot, and even when you heard Paris, he never talks about the officiating.
Yeah,
he didn't talk about that shot. So, but he did mention the Zach Davis. Zach Davis reached out toward the guy, and there was at least 3 inches between him and the guy when the guy got the 3-point foul called on him.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys had a collision, and I want to say, that play I didn't focus on as much, even though I saw it was bad because I've seen players from Kentucky do it and players from Auburn do it. But my issue was toward the end of the game when it was clear that Ziegler or whatever could not keep Michi in front of him. Michi got to the line sometimes. There were some times he went down there and got bumped around like a bowling ball, and they just said ball out and gave Carolina the ball back. And the way that they were giving fouls out for players driving on in the first half with Tennessee, you would think all you want is you don't want an uneven game, but you want a fair game call.
Yeah.
So I just that's just those were my thoughts. It was a great game by the team. I thought they did a good job, but we out rebounded Tennessee in the second half. We out rebounded them for the game, but we out rebounded them in the second half. Our defense stood up in the second half, and then, so it's just they had just enough of cushion. And, when it was 59-53, their last 7 shots were free throw shots.
South Carolina really. It's hard for them to win if Michi Johnson goes 0 for 7. Jacoby Wright goes 0 for 2 from three-point land. That's 0 for 9 between their two most dead-eye outside shooters. And Cooper, he did hit 3, but he was 3 of 8. Got to get more from Mack in these games as well. He only had 8 points. He only had
he was the one that really,
2 rebounds.
He was the one that really hurt, I think, because he didn't get his.
He loves to back people down. He loves to back people down, and he's good at it. But he gives up size in there, and he's not able to go up and over these taller guys. They do just let him back him down and just waited to block his shot or the other big guys.
Well, this is the one thing that bothers me about that, though, Corn. In these games where the guys are real physical and he's backing folk down, they don't give him the shots when he gets that contact. But Colin Murray-Boyles, they can't wait to call a foul on him.
Yeah. Dalton Connect is special, though, boy. I tell you what, Paris was pleased, though, holding him to 26. And, I mean, that's in parentheses, holding him to 26. He kind of viewed that as a defensive victory. Okay, thank you, Hank. Chris will join us, and we'll take more calls.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. The clouds roll in. We'll have an overnight low of 50. Tomorrow, increasing cloudiness throughout the day with a slight 20% chance we get some late afternoon rain. Our high will reach 70. Now, Saturday, well, it's ugly. Rain all day long, while Sunday is nicer. A blend of sun and a few clouds, a high of 67. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
If you spend as much time in your outdoor living space as I do, you should make that time truly enjoyable with new patio furniture and a new grill from Jack Oliver's Pool Spa and Patio. We offer a huge selection of high-quality, unique, brand-name patio sets, pieces, and accessories. Our top-of-the-line grills include Big Green Egg, Weber, and Traeger. It's all in stock and online at affordable prices at Jack Oliver's Pool Spa and Patio, Forest Drive and JackOliverPools.com.
We with SRN News. I'm Keith Peters reporting President Biden will announce plans to establish a temporary port on the Gaza coast to boost humanitarian aid for the beleaguered territory. That's according to senior administration officials who spoke on the condition of anonymity to preview the announcement that's expected later Thursday during his State of the Union speech. The official said the project won't require American troops on the ground to build a pier that's intended to help facilitate a significant increase in shipments of food, medicine, and other essential items. The House has passed a bill that would require federal authorities to detain illegal immigrants who've been accused of theft. Republicans are seizing on the recent death of a nursing student in Georgia to rebuke President Biden's border policies just hours ahead of his State of the Union address. On Wall Street, the Dow by 130 points. This is SRN News.
I sure like to brag about good local businesses. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning is a great local biz. Josh and his team stress customer service as their top priority. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning came out to my house. I had a toilet that wasn't working right, a garbage disposal that died. They came out right on time, told me everything they were going to do, and explained the price of each repair before even bringing in the tools. I knew exactly what I was getting and exactly what it would cost. Their prices are fair. Their team is courteous and professional. Plus, they did a great job fixing what needed fixing in my home. I am very careful about making any recommendations, and I'm thrilled and confident to suggest you call Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning for any plumbing needs. If it's a repair or to replace something, if it's that tankless water heater that you've always wanted to give you that endless hot water and save you some money. They unclog drain and sewer lines and so much more. Online, you'll find them at franklinplumbing.sc.com or just give Josh and those great folks a phone call, 799-2222. That's 799-2222, and tell them you heard about them from here at The Point.
Are you looking for free checking and free savings? Dave Ramsey here, telling you to go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank that's so big they lose the ability to treat you like a human being. At Palmetto Citizens, you're not just a number, you're a member. Join today at any of their 14 locations or at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Great things don't happen all at once. Big dreams take time. And when it comes to saving for college, it's those small steps that make a difference. I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 5-9 college savings plan, is designed to be taken step by step. You can start with any amount, contributions are tax deductible, and earnings grow tax-free. So why wait? Discover the smart, easy way to save for college at futurescholar.com.
I'm Jeremy Sweet from Sweet's Comfort Services. If you need service or a new system installed that meets the new SEER 2 requirements, you want someone properly qualified. We stand by our work and charge a fair price. We're a full-service HVAC company and customer satisfaction is a necessity. We even offer affordable preventative maintenance agreements and financing. We're online at sweethvac.com or call us at 803-331-8143. That's Sweets Comfort Services, 331-8143.
I'm here to fill time because, as everyone knows, when a radio station has dead air, Daddy loses money. Albeit these guys are getting such a deal, Daddy's not losing that much money. So take that, Mr. No Raise in 48 years. Come on, press that button. Yo!
Okay, we're back. And Chris Bergen is back. And he's better connected. Welcome in, sir. Tough loss, end of the season. End of the season is never fun, even when you're not expected to play very deep into the postseason. Never fun to see it come to an end.
No, it's not. And I mentioned that to Benny Moss in the postgame chat. I never enjoyed those conversations with Cliff Ellis, and I didn't today with Benny Moss because, at least from my perspective as a play-by-play guy, and I'm sure Derek Scott and the guys up at Clemson can tell you the same thing. You get embedded with these teams, whichever one you cover, and you enjoy watching them have success, and you sort of feel the pain that they have when they don't have success, and it becomes like you're part of their family. And when it comes to an end, we'll never have that same as any sports. whether it's high school, college, or pro. You never have that same group of people in the locker room again. So tomorrow when we take the 10-hour or so bus ride back from Pensacola back home to Myrtle Beach, and then I'll make it back up to Sardis, that'll be the last time that group of players is together. And from Coastal's perspective, now they go into an off season of unknowns. What happens with the coaching situation? You know, Cliff Ellis is not coming back. Do they retain Benny Moss? Do they make a change, bring in somebody from the outside? I guess we'll probably find that out in a little bit. But the problem they had today is John Oshiako, their center, who was a third-team All-Sun Belt Conference performer, led them in double-doubles at 17. He was ranked nationally in double-doubles and in defensive rebounding. He couldn't go today. He was hurt on Tuesday night. He actually stepped off the floor. The floor at the Pensacola Base Center is raised a little bit, and then there's a tarp that covers the base of the floor where they put the basketball courts. It covers what basically serves as the ice surface for the Pensacola Pilots, which is a minor league hockey team here that plays in the same building. And so when John stepped off the floor, he was hustling after a loose ball, and the tarp actually crinkled up on him, and he slipped and hurt his knee. And they were hoping to be able to get him to go. They ran him through treatment all day yesterday. Actually saw several doctors between Tuesday evening and this morning, and they were hoping to get something out of him. He couldn't play, and once that was announced that he was unable to go, it was going to be really difficult against a good Louisiana team. This is the team they played today that actually won the conference tournament last year. And I heard Hank talking about Rick Barnes did not want to see South Carolina anymore. My guess is he wouldn't want to see Louisiana again because Louisiana gave them a scare in the opening round of the tournament last year, almost beat the Volunteers. And they've got a pretty good team led by a couple of high-level scorers in Joe Charles and Kobe Julian, and that was enough today for Coastal to lose to them 80-66. So the Chanticleer is done with a 9-win season, and I guess we'll see what happens in the offseason.
All right, very good. 80-66 the final. Let me pass along a couple of other notes, then we'll get back to phone calls. 888-898-2525, South Carolina. Education Lottery lucky number. CAA postseason awards for the College of Charleston. Pat Kelsey, the Coach of the Year. Bryce Butler, the 6th Man of the Year. Ante Berzovich, CAA First Team. Rain Smith, CAA Second Team. Ben Burnham, CAA Third Team. James Scott, All Rookie Team. What a job Pat Kelsey has done. I got to believe Ohio State is going to make a strong pitch for him when they heat up their search. It's just too natural. He's a winner.
If they're doing their due diligence, Phil, they've got to. You've got to at least call. Because he's an Ohio native. He's done a tremendous job everywhere he's been. He's probably ready for an opportunity like that. And the job he's done in turning the college around this season, because early in the year they were not the team they are now. And they're playing as good a basketball as maybe they did at the end of last season. So, yeah, I think if Ohio State is doing their work, they need to at least call and engage his interest for sure.
All right, the Clemson starting rotation for this weekend. On Friday, it will be Austin Gordon going back in the rotation. Then Saturday.
amount of work on the teams that make the conference championship games. They've got to deal with that, getting their teams ready. Plus, they're still trying to finalize recruiting. It just seems like it makes too much sense to me, and I'm not a recruiting guy, but it makes too much sense to me if you had it the first week of August as opposed to the second week in December.
Yeah, I could see that. Well, I think we heard a lot of complaining this year about the fact that you're preparing for a bowl game, and you're putting the finishing touches on your high school recruiting because the signing date was not until mid-December, and that's also right in the middle of the portal being open. So you're going after high school guys, you're going after transfers, and you're trying to prepare for a bowl game. And I think they felt like that was too much. So they move it up to kind of separate that, give them a little bit of a break from that standpoint. And I'm all for giving these poor fellows a break.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
They're
doubt.
overworked and underpaid, you know.
Yes, they are underpaid. It's a shame. I don't know how Dabo Sweeney and Shane Beamer and Kirby Smart can get their next meal. I mean, I'm sure they have to scrimp and save as best they can to be able to afford a hamburger at McDonald's because they're woefully underpaid for the job they do.
One more thing. I didn't get to it last night. Didn't have a chance to. But Chris Lowe of ESPN wrote a great story. He's a great writer. He wrote a great story on Nick Saban. He and Nick Saban, a very close relationship over the years from a reporter-coach standpoint. And he was talking to him about, his decision to retire and all that kind of stuff. And basically, paraphrasing here, not quoting, but basically, Saban said, I got the feeling from my guys in my postseason meetings with them that they had become more interested in themselves than they were in the process and in the program, basically. They'd gotten too caught up in NIL. They'd gotten too caught up in transfer portal. Sitting down and talking to him, he said the two things he wanted to talk about: off-season conditioning, getting better, and they want to talk about how much more am I going to get paid, and hinting that they're going to hit the portal if they didn't get their dollar figure. And he said, you know what? This ain't for me anymore. This ain't the way I want to handle it. This ain't the way I want to be. This ain't the football I want to be around. I don't want to be like Cliff Ellis said when he retired, I don't want to be a general manager. I don't want to be a roster manager. I'm a coach and a teacher. So that was a big reason for his decision to go ahead and hang it up.
You want to talk about burning your boats after you hit land? That's exactly what Nick Saban did. I was stunned by some of his comments, but glad to hear a coach actually come out and finally say some of the stuff he did. Greg Byrne, the AD at Alabama, evidently had a hint that Saban was going to retire at least in the next year or so. I mean, I think that was fairly obvious. But Saban's points about the way his team reacted, not just as you laid out, Phil, which just is not going to fit in a Nick Saban system, but the way they reacted after their loss to Michigan. He talked about you got to win with class, you got to lose with class too. And he talked about his players throwing helmets and doing all the things. He said, I'm not dealing with this anymore. This is not how our program, at least under Nick Saban, is going to be run. And I think that, much like you touched on with Coach Ellis, I think that was the final straw. And he said, you know what, I may have come back another year, but it's not going to get any better. So I'll go ahead and enjoy playing golf and becoming an analyst on, I think it's ESPN or Fox that he's going to work with moving forward.
Yeah, that's just another reason to admire Nick Saban, And you have to admire Nick Saban because he never stepped away from his foundation, his own personal foundation. And he wasn't going to do it here, and he was sick and tired of being sick and tired with the situation that it had evolved into. I mean, this new generation of college coaches, football, basketball, and to some degree baseball, I do kind of feel for them because they're not going to be as much coaches as they are going to be basically babysitters.
And GMs.
And negotiators and GMs, absolutely. Coaching kind of takes a back step here. Okay, back to the phone calls. 888-898-2525. Tiger Brian in Lancaster. Tiger Brian, welcome in. How are you?
I'm doing better. I hope you feel better, my brother, because I'm going to tell you what. You was talking about these people underachieve and don't get enough pay. Y'all, all my sports talk people, y'all are great and y'all are underpaid. I don't know what you mean.
Well, should I start a GoFundMe page for Sports Talk? Would you give to it?
Well, I'll give you damn race pool money I win every week.
The Tiger Bryant Collective to Sports Talk. I think that could work.
I'll get some NIL.
Money from it.
Well, I got my son up there in Clemson. He went to Clemson. He's an engineer. He's got my birthday's coming up. He's got me sweatshirt Tiger Bryant.
I bet you that's beautiful.
He got Sports Talk on the back, 107.1. Call him. He sent me a picture out and said, man, I don't know if I'm infringing on your stuff. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm not going to sell them or nothing. I'm going to wear it and support y'all, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Dave. I'm going to tell you what, Dave. I just got a little theory here. And that's serious. That's bad, really. But we got on linebacker at Clemson. We got the damn Brown boy, Sammy Brown. He's supposed to be best state just last week. I hope he is. We got Woodrow. We got Carter, the leader. We got a few more. But you think that guy's going to be Johnny on the spot? I don't know. I mean, I ain't seen him. My son said he's the man.
Well,
he said to the West Coast, the man. He goes down and watches practice. You know what I mean? My son gets.
Well, let me say this: Sammy Brown is a unique athlete, and is a heck of a running back too. Dabo Swinney said yesterday that he's been very pleased with the way he has come along, and he's obviously going to get a chance to play early. But you mentioned Carter returning and Woodaz returning.
Yeah, right.
And those are two, who are going to play a lot.
Yeah.
And then you got D. Creighton, you got Kobe McLeod, you got Jamal Anderson. Yep. They're all back. And also keep in mind in today's defenses, how often do you have three linebackers on the field?
That's
you
right.
got a lot of that nickel in there. So, he'll get his snaps. I wouldn't say he's going to come in there and take a starting spot right off the bat. But he'll get his snaps.
Are you going to be at the spring game?
I plan to be if I'm still breathing.
Well, if I am too. Well, I'm going to call you.
All right.
I'm going to call you.
I'm going to come by your tailgate so I can get one of those T-shirts.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to have you a sweatshirt and a T-shirt.
All right, just I need. I've lost so much weight here. I just need a medium. A medium now.
No, hell no. I know you don't need no medium. Really?
Well, maybe a large.
Won't do.
Maybe a large. Yeah.
I'll do you a large.
Be safe. Make it an extra large.
Corn's favorite clip. I'll have him print it. Corn's favorite Clemson man on the back.
Tiger Bryant. Tiger Bryant. All right, TB. Thank you, sir. It's great hearing from you. Tiger Bryant. Glad he's feeling good. He sounds good, doesn't he, Chris? He sounds like he's feeling good.
He did. What's that line that Gamecock Larry always says, feeling good like a good Tiger should? That sounds like what Tiger Bryant's dealing with today.
Well, whatever he had for dinner, it's worked well for him. Let's go to the break, and we'll come back with more phone calls. Phone number 888-898-2525. I want to get away to a summer vacation as soon as possible. You should do the same thing. You need to call Jimmy Smith at James Smith Real Estate Company, 843-237-4246, online at pauliesvacationrentals.com. Jimmy and the staff will take care of all your needs in finding you that perfect beach vacation spot. 843-237-4246.
Last year was a big year for Founders Federal Credit Union and our amazing members. A total of $30 million was given back to qualifying members in the form of loyalty bonus dividends, proving once again that it pays to be a Founders member. Founders is also committed to pouring time and resources into the local communities we serve. If you aren't a member yet, what are you waiting for? Join Founders today. Visit foundersfcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Membership qualification required.
This is Major Billy Downer with the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Boating season is right around the corner here in the Palmetto State. As you get ready for this spring and summer, make sure your registration sticker is up to date and you have a copy of your registration card on board your boat. For more information on boat registration and answers to common questions, visit dnr.sc.gov.
Stay tuned. More Sports Talk is coming up on the Sports Talk Media Network.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. That's the sound of a big hit on you and your car or truck. I've been an attorney for more than 30 years, helping people who get injured in car wrecks and truck wrecks. If you have serious injuries, call Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968, or email me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. That's Corbett. I don't get paid unless I recover for you. Jim Corbett Attorney, for your best recovery from a big hit, 803-765-2968, or jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Buddy Tim watching us on our stream. He wants to know if Gamecock Larry was the one who threw the ice on the court last night. What is that all about, people? Seriously. Why are you throwing ice on the court? You're upset over a call or a no call. And some bozo or bozos, they throw ice on the court. What do you think you're proving by doing that? Seriously.
Well, first off,
you should be identified and banned from the arena because somebody is going to get hurt, possibly. And, that just cannot happen. What is it about that?
Well, it could be your own team, Phil. If you're a Gamecock fan and we're upset about something last night, what happens if you throw ice on the floor and hit Michie Johnson in the eye? How are you feeling about your life now? If you got to be smarter than that as a fan. You can be frustrated. That's what your vocal cords are for. Maybe clean up your language a touch because there are kids that are watching. But nonetheless, I mean, there's no excuse for throwing stuff on the court. None. You cannot give me a reason that gives you valid points to be able to be that frustrated and throw something on the floor, especially a hard object like an ice cube. I mean, I realize it's small, but still, it could do some damage, especially if, like I mentioned, you hit somebody in the eye and it could be your own team.
Yeah. Don't do that, people. Be smarter than that. Be bigger than that. Had a great game going and a great atmosphere. The fans were fantastic. And I know it's just a very small, could have been just one. But that's played out on television. The announcers said that. Oh, fans are throwing ice on the floor. That's just awful. Inexcusable. Unacceptable. All right. 888-898-2525. We go to Will in Spartanburg next up here on Sports Talk. And welcome in, Will. How are you?
Hey, Phil. How you doing?
Fantastic.
Good. Well, I sound like you after yelling at those refs last night, but I got to tell you,
that
was the worst refereeing I've seen at the home games this year. Also, the worst shooting we've had in the home game this year. But I'm telling you, that game was decided at the SEC home office yesterday morning in Alabama because they wanted a number one seed in the tournament. So they hired either, I don't know if it was Peyton Manning's uncles or Phil Fulmer's nephews, but that's who they hired to referee those games because Michie was getting destroyed coming down the lane. And then they get a rebound and we barely breathe on them and they call a foul. So it was just awful. But we did miss a lot of shots, but if they'd been called fairly, I think we'd have come out on top.
Well, I do think, and listen, the fouling thing, yes and no. The Gamecocks didn't drive the ball a lot early, so you're not going to get a lot of fouls. They did drive the ball later, and they were successful. They got fouled some, and Tennessee's going to feed it inside, and they're going to get fouls because they're so long and lanky in there. That's what they do. They draw fouls. So what are you going to do?
It was It was just, but you can't let Meechie get murdered.
Well, you can't go 0 for 9 between Johnson and Wright. They can't combine to go 0 for 9 from 3.
Yeah, my main question is, what was wrong with Josh Gray? He played like 3 minutes in the first half, and he's our enforcer inside. I mean, he barely played the second half. I couldn't believe it, and I haven't heard anything about him being hurt.
He's not. Lamont Paris doesn't play guys who aren't in the game. If he's not seeing it from you, he's not going to play you. So he felt like Gray must not have been giving him what he was looking for. He played 8 minutes. He took 1 shot, scored 1 point. He had 2 fouls. He did have 5 rebounds, but he must not have been happy with some level of effort on either side of the ball. So he'll tell you, I play the guys that are giving it to me.
Well, even just standing out there, he'd have played better defense than B.J. Mack on those guys on the inside. That was just crazy.
He'd have given them more bulk, that's for sure. Give them more bulk.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But anyway, I love the show. Love listening to you, man.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Take care. Have a good weekend.
I did not get to see the game last night. I was keeping up with it on the live stats, so this won't answer my question. Phil, did they try any of the 1-3-1 zone that has been successful for them? And if so, to answer Will's question, Josh Gray actually plays extremely well as the backline defender in that defense. I'm just curious, did they play mostly man? Because that is in Lamont Paris's DNA. He said he's been mostly a man defensive coach his entire career, but he's found something with that 1-3-1 zone. I was just curious if they deployed that any last night.
Well, to my knowledge, maybe somebody else can correct me, because I'm watching the first half and we're doing the show, so I got kind of one eye on it.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And then second half, I'm more attuned to it. I don't remember them playing any zone at all in the game. So somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I have not gone back to rewatch it. So I don't recall them playing any zone last night. That might would have stood out to me had I noticed it. So
right.
Gotcha. I don't think they played any. So
well,
okay,
Tennessee may be a team you don't want to play in the zone. It worked against Florida, and like I said, Josh Gray is a pretty good enforcer on the backside of that defense. But if they went mostly man, I'm not sure that if Josh isn't into the game, as you pointed out, I'm not sure you want to run him out there defensively.
All right, check out this score. Imagine you're the play-by-play announcer for Pacific, and you're playing the tournament, the West Coast Conference tournament first round. You're 6-25, and you're 0-16, and you're playing Pepperdine. At halftime, the score is 56-9. 56-9. Now they're into the second half, and it's 73-24. What kind of stories do you think they're telling?
Oh, my gosh. You have to be talking about anything other than the game. And then on the occasion you say, oh, and by the way, here's the score. But, yeah, that's no fun. I've had enough of those bad broadcast type games over the career, mostly in high school football, and it's no fun for anybody. It's not fun for the Pepperdine people either, because the game normally is the story. And when the game's out of hand in the first half, I don't know what you do in the second half.
Unbelievable. 9 first-half points. Okay, if you're on the lines, hang on. We'll get to you after the break. Be right back.
WXL Columbia W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. President Biden delivers his State of the Union address tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. A preview from White House correspondent Greg Clugston.
White House officials say the president will use his primetime address to make the case for rebuilding the economy, lowering prescription drug costs, and defending abortion access. With an eye toward the general election, Mr. Biden will lay out the sharp differences between his policies and Donald Trump's. Most Americans have doubts about the president's age and mental fitness and likely will be closely watching his performance. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Hamas says its delegation has left Cairo and that talks on a Gaza ceasefire and hostage release will resume next week. Correspondent Karen Shamas reports.
The move makes a truce before Ramadan unlikely as Hamas pushes for a permanent end to Israel's offensive in Gaza. However, Israel has vowed to continue with the goal of destroying Hamas after a temporary ceasefire ends. The US, Egypt and Qatar have been trying for weeks to broker an agreement between the two sides. The negotiations have focused on a 6-week ceasefire and the release of 40 hostages held in Gaza in exchange for Palestinians imprisoned in Israel. I'm Karen Shamas.
Sweden has formally joined NATO as the 32nd member of the transatlantic military alliance, ending decades of post-World War II neutrality. Swedish Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson.
It is a major step, but at the same time, a very natural step. Membership means that we are coming home to the Alliance for Peace and coming home to the Alliance for Freedom, to which many democracies already belong.
On Wall Street, the Dow up by 130 points, the Nasdaq rose 241, the S&P 500 advanced 52. More at townhall.com.
The words you are about to hear are taken from letters sent in by members of the Trinity Debt Management Program.
Dear Trinity, today I'm making my final credit card payment.
Before I came to you, I was in a constant state of anxiety and panic, but now there is hope for my family's financial future.
Working with Trinity made me understand that I'm not alone.
You really do help people.
Your kindness will never be forgotten. Without Trinity's support, I would not have achieved my lifelong goal of becoming debt-free.
We saved a lot on interest and penalties, of course, but the reward was the gift of human kindness.
Trinity has carried me through a very difficult time in my life. You're amazing.
I used to feel so anxious and hopeless. Now I feel grace and peace.
God bless Trinity as you continue to help others become debt-free.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976. That's 1-800-990-6976.
Correspondent Jackie Quinn reports on the search for suspects in yet another mass transit shooting that has plagued riders in Philadelphia.
8 teenagers were injured, says Philadelphia Deputy Police Commissioner Frank Venor.
All the juveniles were taken to various hospitals.
When shots rang out at a city bus stop Wednesday afternoon with students from Northeast High School waiting for a ride home. Venor on WPVI TV says surveillance video shows there were 3 suspects on the ground and
There's a blue vehicle.
So
The car wasn't driving itself, that there's a 4th individual in the car.
2 buses were punctured by bullets. This was the 4th such shooting on Philadelphia's transit system in as many days. I'm Jackie Quinn.
News and analysis available at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. The clouds roll in. We'll have an overnight low of 50. Tomorrow, increasing cloudiness throughout the day with a slight 20% chance we get some late afternoon rain. Our high will reach 70. Now, Saturday, well, it's ugly. Rain all day long, while Sunday is nicer. A blend of sun and a few clouds, a high of 67. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point. Ooh, you shouldn't have pressed that button. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Now you get this.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil, Chris, and Pat with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Okay, we're back at Sports Talk Media Network. Phil Kornblut, Chris Bergen. We are in separate locations. I'm at the home studio. Bergie is in Florida, about to make his way back to South Carolina. Josh Cohen's at our studio in downtown Columbia. And we can take your phone calls, 888-898-2525. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to reach us here. Basketball tonight, South Carolina State is playing North Carolina Central. South Carolina State's having a very fine MEAC season. They're 9-4 in the MEAC. So maybe you give them a little bit of a keep an eye on when it gets to the MEAC tournament, which I guess begins next week. Okay, a few other notes. We can take some calls, and we're going to hear from Lamont Paris as well. But if you want to dial us up, we got room and time for your phone calls at this point. But a few other notes to share with you. Let's see, what hadn't we talked about? Oh, baseball news. Virginia Tech has lost one of their best players, Garrett Mitchell. Missed the rest of the season due to a broken wrist. He was hitting .400, 4 doubles or triple, 4 homers, 17 RBIs. Ouch. So that certainly changes the season for them. Our poll question of the week. I don't think you've had a chance to talk about it. Our poll question of the week. Gamecock basketball coach Lamont Paris, the lowest paid men's coach in the SEC at $2.3 million this season. What should he be paid per season when his contract is reworked? $5 million, $4 million, or $3 million?
Here's the issue I have, and again, I think you pay him whatever the market value of him is, and I think it's extremely high, and especially if Ohio State comes calling. You've got to match and then surpass what the Buckeyes want for him, because I think he's a terrific coach and a great find by Ray Tanner. So I think they need to make sure they get him paid. The question I'm concerned about, though, Phil, is it's the same thing, with regards to Shane Beamer after a good second season. How much money do you pay, or do you sit there and wait and see if this is a trend upward, as it appears to be with Gamecock basketball, or is this a one-off? I don't think it's a one-off. I think if you open up the purse strings, I think it's the smart move, but you also have to be careful. You don't want to get in a situation where you overpay for a guy who just has one good season. Like I said, I don't believe that's the case, but I think when you're dealing with millions and millions of dollars, you got to be careful. But I think $4 million is not out of the realm of possibility. Not sure I'd go quite $5 million, but he may be worth it. He certainly may be.
Well, in the breakdown of the SEC coaches, you've got Calipari at the very top. I think he's 8-point-something million. Then you've got Rick Barnes, who's making $5 million plus. I think there's another one in the $5 million category, and then you got some in the $4 million category. Mm-hmm. So, unlike the football coaches, where top to bottom, you got a lot of the highest paid coaches in football are in the SEC.
Sure.
I'm not so sure that's the case in basketball across the country. I believe Nate Oates is in that $4 million plus category as well. So, if you put him in the $4 million range, then he's in what you would consider, if you broke it down by a classification, you got Calipari, who's in a class by himself. And then you've got that next group, a next class of 2 or 3, and then you've got maybe a middle class, and then you got the bottom. He's at the bottom. You want to raise him, I would raise him above the middle class and go into that, you put him in that class. What does he deserve to be in there with Barnes and Oates? And I think there's one other. But I know Barnes and Oates are in there. Does he deserve to be in that group?
What is Pearl making? Do we know at Auburn?
Pearl. That's the other one. Thank you.
I would, is he as good a coach? He certainly can be. Again, he just doesn't have the track record in the resume. But if you look at the job he did at Chattanooga, and then you look at what he's done this season, and I saw some people trying to debate who's your national coach of the year. There's no question Lamont Paris is the SEC coach of the year, and I think he should get a lot of consideration for national coach of the year. Is it harder to do what he did this season or what Coach Hurley is doing at UConn? Yeah. Take a team who's the defending national champion and keep them there, or take a team that was picked dead last and have them playing for the regular season championship with 2 games left to go. There's no question Lamont Paris has done a tremendous job and one of the best coaching jobs in the country this season. So is he in that Pearl, Nate Oates category quite yet? I'm not sure. He might be just off of that. But, yeah, being in the lower tier, no, he's much better than that and certainly deserves a raise. And I think in the $4 million range somewhere, I think is very fair after 2 seasons at USC. The outlier, and what I think might change that discussion is if somebody does come and try and poach him, like, say, in Ohio State. If they come after him, then you may have to bump him up further just to make sure you don't lose him.
Yeah. Who would have thought that Dan Hurley would become the better coach than Bobby Hurley.
No doubt.
I mean, seriously. He wasn't the player his brother was, but, man,
No.
he sure is the coach.
Mm-hmm.
He can flat out coach. Okay. Oh, to answer our poll question, 46.8% are saying $4 million. 36.4% are saying $5 million. That's a pretty good number. 16.8% say $3 million. 459 votes are in. You can vote on our X page at SportsTalkSC on X. SportsTalkSC on X. Okay, and what else would I want to mention here real quick? We talked about that. I like to mention high school kids when they do something great. So last night we gave you the rosters for the Carolina's All-Star Classics basketball games, boys and girls. So I want to give the players who've been selected for the North-South All-Star games, boys and girls. So let's do that so they get their proper notoriety. So for the North men's roster, you've got Christian Andrews from Dorman, Jeremiah Campbell from Wren, Connor Cannon from Fox Creek, Darius Carr from Gray Collegiate, Franklin Davis from Landrum, Caden Giles from Nation Ford, Zion Hager from Catawba Ridge, DJ Harvey from Christ Church, Jalen Hoover from Clover, Casey McDowell from Burns, Jaquarius Patterson from T.L. Hanna, and Justin Skelton from Spring Valley. Doing the best I can with my copy here. It's a little fuzzy to me. Of course, I think this fever I have kind of makes your vision fuzzy. Did you have that problem too? When you had the flu and the fever, did it make your vision fuzzy?
I have not had the flu nor the fever. I've just had a horrible head cold, and I keep that throughout the basketball season, which is annoying.
Well,
so, no, my vision's just gotten bad because of laptop computers.
Yeah.
I don't think it has anything to do with the play.
Well, I've got the flu and the fever and the plague. All right, on the South men's team, oh, by the way, head coach of the North is Lynn Smith of Landrum. Assistant coaches John Mark Scruggs of Emerald and Barris Jackson of Clover. South team, Jamez Way of Cross, Kevon Chisholm of Hampton County, Travis Stickney, Oceanside Collegiate, Caleb Wilson, Andrew Jackson, Robert Watson, Philip Simmons, Israel Macklin, Camden, Jamari Brown, South Florence, Cooper Wiley, AC Florida, R.J. Simmons of James Island, Tavares Bell of Westwood, Caleb Jenkins of Sumter, and Isaac Smalls of Cane Bay. Head coach is Emmanuel DeWalt, Carolina Forest, assisted by Danny Wright of Andrew Jackson and David Long of Somerville. Okay, give me the girls. This could be a struggle. Girls' names are typically a little different, are they not?
They are, no doubt.
Well, try to negotiate this as best as possible. Okay, North women. Interesting, too, they referred to these girls as women. The North women's team roster. They didn't say girls roster. They said women's roster. Is that where we are now? High school girls or women?
What did they reference the boys? Are
boys.
They men?
No, boys.
Okay, then it should be the girls roster. It should not be the women's roster.
Yeah, it says women.
They're not women. They're 16, 15-year-old kids still,
Yeah.
right?
Try and tell them
high
that.
school.
Try and tell them that.
I have not had to deal with one other than my nieces, so I don't have to worry about that.
All right, here we go. Deasia Crawford from Rock Hill. And I'm going to butcher some of these names. I'm sorry. Oh, wait. Hang on a second. I just cut myself off. Nakia Kelly of Dorman. Genesis Young of Spartanburg. Olivia Randolph of Wren. Ari Scott. I think it's Ari Scott of Westside. Zakira Henderson of Blue Ridge, Amina Taylor of Silver Bluff, Maggie Chambers of Pickens, Sharik Parker of Blacksburg, Marmy Baxter of Walhalla, Marmy, Talasia Yeomans of Hunter Connor Tyler, and Crystal Johnson of Silver Bluff. Okay. Any of those names you want to use for your next born daughter? Marmy? Would you like to use Marmy?
I was going to ask, in about 15, 16 years, what will be the most popular name for a girls basketball player? Will it be Caitlin, Aaliyah, or Angel?
What's wrong with Asia?
Asia, I think, will be coming sooner. But yeah, it'd be another good opportunity. But yeah, I'm thinking of the most popular women's basketball players here the last 2 or 3 years, and those three names come to mind. My guess is you're going to have a lot of Caitlins start playing high school basketball in the next 15 years.
The head coach of the North, Cassander Griffin Wilson of Daniel, assisted by Stephanie Butler Graham of South Point, and Ashlyn Dorn of Dorman. Ashlyn Dorn of Dorman. South team, Jelena Mosley of Bluffton, Trinity McKell of Allendale Fairfax, Izzy Woods of Bishop England, Andrea Duncan of James Island, Diana Blake of Ashley Ridge, Makia Thompson of Westwood, Raquel Brown of Sumter, Christiana Jackson, and Antoinette Cheeseborough of Dutch Fork, Kiera Diggs of Chesterfield, Biana Jeffcoat of Camden, make that Deanna Jeffcoat of Camden, and Jayla Ford of Lakeview. Head coach Emily Biagledes of James Island. All right, Chris, you're the master. Beyogglides. Beoglides?
That's pretty close.
Beoglides.
I'll go with that.
Beoglides. Emily Beoglides of James Island. Assistants Crystal Peace of Berkeley and Gregory Baldrick of Westwood. All right, sweated my way through that. Let's go to the break. When we come back, we will hear from Lamont Paris. His thoughts after that game last night, why it didn't go the Gamecocks' way. There are reasons. He didn't make any excuses. He looked his guys right in the face and said, hey, this is what we did not do to win this game. Get his thoughts on that coming up in just a moment. Dabo Sweeney coming up in the final half hour tonight, and we'll be back.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hostetler Brown. Helping an aging loved one arrange for their care can be one of the most difficult things you will ever do. Fortunately, you don't have to navigate this maze alone. Lawyer Lisa's knowledgeable life care team can lead you down the right path. Visit lawyerlisa.com to see how we can help.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
Hi, yes, I'll have the club sandwich and house salad.
You got it, sweetie. I'll throw in a pair of designer sunglasses as well.
Just lunch, thanks.
How about a week at my boss's oceanfront villa?
What?
When you join the South Carolina Education Lottery's Players Club, you get way more than you expect. More chances, more wins, and more surprises.
Today's special, a trip to low Earth orbit in a private spaceship.
Join the Players Club at seeducationlottery.com because more happens here.
You're listening to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. We're back in a moment.
George Bryant here for Tsunami Bar Sports, and some say the fun is in the winning. I say the fun is in the training. And Tsunami Robbie, what do you say?
George, we all know you get more done when you're having fun. This technology is different, it's engaging,
but it's also a lot of fun to use.
Hi, this is Phil Kornblut. Be sure to click on the digital ad on SportsTalkSC.com and get 5% off any Tsunami Bar order using promo code BBB5. Don't wait, order today.
So, how are the kids?
Well, Emily made the honor roll.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah, we're really proud of her. Tyler, on the other hand, though.
What's going on?
He's been moody lately, just feeling down and not like himself.
Oh, we've been there. Nick was struggling last spring. He was so anxious and stressed.
Really? What helped?
Well, he joined the soccer team. And ever since, he's been a lot happier. He has more energy, he's less stressed, and he's definitely in a better mood at home. It's made a huge difference.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad he's getting out of the house, he's getting some exercise, and he's off his phone for once. It's been good for his mental health.
Sounds like it's been good for your mental health, too.
Participating in South Carolina high school sports improves students' physical and mental health. Encourage your son or daughter to get involved. This message presented by the SCHSL and the South Carolina Athletic Administrators Association.
Okay, not the finish USC wanted in last night's loss to Tennessee. Not the outcome they wanted in front of a packed house. Chance to put themselves in position to win it all on Saturday. Didn't turn out to be their night from that standpoint. What did Lamont Paris think about things? Here's some of what he had to say after the game last night.
Not a lot to say, really, other than our effort was incredible. I feel bad for our guys. They wanted to win so badly, but incredible effort against a really good team. You know, they're conference champs. You don't accidentally fall into that status. But I thought we had some chances. I thought it wasn't for lack of effort. That was for sure. We played really, really hard. We wanted to win badly. It wasn't our day in some ways, and then we compounded that with a couple of things. I think we'll look back and there'll be, 4 or 5 things that we had a lot of control over that the play didn't turn out our way, and it yielded points for them because of something that we could have controlled. But they have a good team. They have an experienced team, vets, tough, prolific scorer, at least one. I don't want to minimize anyone else's contributions on their side of the ball, but at least one prolific scorer. And it just was. It's hard. It's a hard thing to just wrap your mind around when you got the guys in the locker room that are hurting like that. But sun will come up tomorrow, and we got a lot that we're still playing for. There's still more milestones that are out there for us. A lot of them are already in the rearview mirror. And I joked around with him. I said the SEC just wasn't quite ready for us to do all that and end up being first place in the league. So we'll have to settle for something else. But it was a great effort by our guys and their guys too. It was a good basketball game, and just came up short.
Lamont, it seemed like you guys were really making a conscious effort to run them off the three-point line, which kind of got them going on the inside. Just what did you see defensively that was kind of helping their inside game early?
Yeah, well, I mean, they're a good team. They're going to get some things done. When I look back at it, here's what I'll look at. I'll really try to get to the bottom of some transition situations. Why did those happen? I know they got some stuff in transition. I don't know how many points, but in the first half they had some transition stuff. What was the root of that? Could we have controlled some of that? My guess is that we could have. I'll look at some of our defensive responsibilities and just a couple rules, and I know we violated some rules defensively. I think ultimately for me it boils down to that. I really want to look at the things that we could have controlled. Were there enough of those that could have impacted the game? And I think without a doubt the answer is yes. They got some stuff inside. They're aggressive. They ducked in there. They got some threes also. They have a good team, but I mean, all said and done, overall from a defensive standpoint, the body of it, we talked about it before. Dalton Connect had, 26 points on how many field goal attempts? On 23. Yeah, I can't control who shoots on there, but that's a number that I like, honestly. And someone's going to write, Dalton Connect had 23 as they win the conference championship. But honestly, those numbers are probably where I want a prolific scorer to be. 25, 6 points on 23 shots. So it just was some other stuff. Honestly, it came down to some other stuff. And some of it was we were excited, and maybe that made it a little harder for us to stick to the script on a couple of defensive things. You want to make a play. And honestly, sometimes the play is kind of hidden out there, and it's just being solid is the play. But, guys want to make a play. They want to get a steal. They want to block a shot. They want to make a spectacular play. And I think that led to a couple of things where generally we've been a little more solid than that.
Coach, you talk a lot about this team's makeup when we talk about the success it's had, but what about this team's makeup is going to help it move on from a loss like this?
Yeah, it'll be a hard night for them, I imagine. I mean, we'll come in and we'll have to do some damage control tomorrow at practice, just emotionally. It's, hey, trust me, people know. These guys know. There aren't any secrets as to who picked who, where, and all this and that and the other. And so, I mean, they've owned that and they've worn that badge all season. They've continued to perform on a consistent basis, and so they expected to win today. So they're going to this is going to be a hard loss for them. So we'll do some damage control tomorrow with the guys and just getting back to, we'll spend a full day just of doing our stuff and all that. But it's unbelievable character that this team has. I'm telling you, it's unbelievable. I've done this for a long time. And I've had some really good ones. I've been a part of some teams where it's like, wow, man, if we could ever get close to that, that would be awesome. Forget about making shots, and we've gone beyond that in most cases. It's an unbelievable group. I can't say that enough. But because of that, it does make it we'll move forward. We'll move forward. We moved forward after the LSU game. That was a hard one, right? Particularly with the way it ended, and you think about the ramifications of that when you're in a race like this. We moved forward from that, and we put 3 games together at that point. So we'll move forward. They're young, they're resilient, and so we'll get back to it and just prepare for what's next for us.
Lamont Paris, Chris, those are some really good comments. I think the way
I agree,
broke things down about the game and then how you deal with the loss and what's ahead. I thought he was spot on.
I've said this throughout this season. I wish USC made him available to the media more often, not just so we get a chance to chat with him, but Carolina fans can hear him. Every time I listen to the guy, I'm smarter for basketball because he's just a brilliant mind for the game. And he's right. There are certain principles that he has developed within that program, especially defensively, that he'll not surrender. And they did not play, clearly, the spots that he wanted them to last night against Tennessee, and they've got to get it corrected. Phil, this is a winnable game on Saturday at Mississippi State. The problem is Mississippi State is 19-11, but 11 of their wins are at home. They're an entirely different team at home. So the Gamecocks are going to have to be ready to play. You don't want to go into the conference tournament on a 2-game losing streak. Best way to bounce back is to win Saturday against the Bulldogs.
Only beaten by 6 in Columbia earlier in the year, too. So you know it's going to be probably a low-scoring game, which is what they're getting used to playing. We'll be back after the break.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. The clouds roll in. We'll have an overnight low of 50. Tomorrow, increasing cloudiness throughout the day with a slight 20% chance we'll get some late afternoon rain. Our high will reach 70. On Saturday, well, it's ugly. Rain all day long, while Sunday is nicer. A blend of sun and a few clouds, a high of 67. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Hey y'all, this is Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. We'd like to invite you and your family to dine with us. We have a great menu that's sure to please your whole family. We'll have fresh cooked burgers, big juicy wings, new plate menu featuring country cooking, oven-baked hoagies, fresh crisp salads, authentic Greek food like gyros, souvlaki, and baklava. We also carry 20 different premium cheesecakes and pies. Flight Deck Restaurant also has an arcade with 30 different games like Star Wars, Batman, Skee Ball, Basketball, Pac-Man, Galaga, and so much more. Flight Deck, your favorite family restaurant. Thanks, y'all, and God bless.
Keith Peters reporting officials in Texas say power lines ignited deadly wildfires across the state's Panhandle region that destroyed homes and livestock and left a charred landscape last week. Texas A&M Forest Service said Thursday that investigators concluded power lines ignited the Smokehouse Creek and Windy Deuce fires. Xcel Energy also said Thursday in a news release that its equipment appeared to have played a role in the starting of the Smokehouse Creek fire. That blaze burned nearly 1,700 square miles and spilled into neighboring Oklahoma. The guest list for President Biden's State of the Union address speaks volumes about what Democrats and Republicans want to focus on as the 2024 election season heats up. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 130 points, the NASDAQ rose 241. This is SRN News.
When you've got the gem of the Midlands, Lake Maury, at your disposal, who can blame you for wanting to hit that water now? Marine 360 has been your local home for the nicest crest and sea hunt boats since 2007. Brandon, Scott, and their team, well, they offer expertise, incredible customer service, and a tremendous selection of new and pre-owned boats. Crest is the industry standard. They've been building boats since 1956, the oldest and one of the most respected pontoon builders anywhere. Sea Hunt is built right here in Columbia, the #1 selling center console in its class for 19 straight years. Look, Marine 360 is on the lake. It's a great place when you need your boat service. They're authorized service experts for Yamaha, Mercury, and Suzuki. I know Brandon and Scott. These are good guys. They're local, and they'll be there from start to finish. They can get you into the best boat that fits your dreams and your budget. Take a look online, marine360sc.com, or better yet, give them a call, 749-2360. Go visit the showroom, see their awesome selection, hit the water for a demonstration. If you belong on the water, you belong in a Marine 360 boat.
Do you like trivia? Do you like pizza? You're going to love Thursday night at the Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers. That's right. Mellow in the Vista and on Sunset in Lexington have live hosted team trivia every Thursday night starting at 7. Trivia buffs of all ages can compete for Mellow cash and swag in our fun and funky digs while enjoying specials on amazing pizzas, apps, sandwiches, salads, and over 100 beers from around the world. You've still got your long-term memory. Use it at the Mellow Mushroom every Thursday in the Vista and on Sunset in Lexington.
At Palmetto State Armory, we offer the largest selection of guns and ammunition at unbeatable prices. Our knowledgeable and friendly staff are here to provide personalized assistance, ensuring you find exactly what you need. If you enjoy outdoor activities like hunting, camping, or hiking, our clothing and outdoor gear collection has got you covered. We also feature an exceptional indoor range facility where you can experience the thrill of shooting in a safe and controlled environment. Visit us today at PalmettoStateArmory.com or your local retail store. Palmetto State Armory, American made for life.
I've gone from being the skeptic to now emphatically endorsing the idea of solar power for your home or business. But make no mistake, my skepticism was legit because there's only one solar company I've come to believe in. That's Broker Solar. They're local. They're in Lexington. They're not door knockers and high-pressure salespeople. So what about those questions? Broker Solar answered them. How much does it cost? Who gets tax credits? Why should I get a solar battery in addition to solar panels? What type of warranty comes with such an important investment? Ken, Matt, and the team changed my skepticism to confidence. I've been to their job sites, and I am in awe of how the technology has evolved. I'm so impressed with the workmanship from Broker Solar. I've talked to their customers. It all makes so much sense now. Oh, and listen, these politicians, the media's attempt to guilt you with green this and save the planet that, that's not why you want solar power. You want it because it really will save you money. It really gives you control of your power bill instead of the power companies. Hey, find out more online at brokersolar.com or just give them a call. 807-7417. That's 807-7417.
We shall give you the recruiting report now here on Sports Talk, brought to you by Seawells and the good folks at Seawells Food Caterers in Columbia. Tomorrow, I think it is Friday, It is a roast beef Friday at Seawell's, I do believe. Thank you.
It is indeed.
Would you like to tell us about it?
Fried, a carved roasted sirloin of beef. It's not just a roast beef Friday. It is a carved roasted sirloin of beef Friday. Also, southern fried chicken, teriyaki glazed salmon as well.
Yeah, I'm thinking about going, but that might not be fair to other people. I might...
Please don't sneeze on the buffet. That's the last thing anybody needs. If you go, enjoy it. Just don't sneeze on the buffet.
Just can't taste anything. Everything tastes like bricks to me right now.
I doubt the carved roasted sirloin of beef would taste bad.
You think maybe it would cut through? You think the gravy would cut through? Mm-hmm. I'll see how I feel.
Medical grade gravy.
I will. I'll wear a yellow shirt, like a football player, with a
smart, yeah.
Red Cross with a Red Cross, Red Cross symbol on it, saying medically compromised, stay away.
Non-contact buffet TV.
Yep. By the way, that Pepperdine score ended up 102-43 over Pacific. Oh my God!
Hey, they got to 43 points. Nice.
Yeah. Seawell's, of course, beyond the outstanding daily lunch and buffet, 11 to 2. Of course, the best in the catering business. Whatever your needs are, they will address, and they will carry through with a great production for you. 803-771-7385, online at SeawellsCateringSC.com. Okay, actually had a chance to put some things together today in recruiting, which was a refreshing change for me. South Carolina is going to receive the first official visit from offensive tackle David Sanders of Charlotte. Sanders notified National Recruiting Networks this afternoon of his visits for this spring. The last one is an official one to USC for April 19th, which will be the spring game weekend for the Gamecocks. Sanders will begin his string of unofficial visits this Sunday at Clemson. He plans to visit Georgia March 16th, Alabama March 23rd, Tennessee April 12th. Of course, he'll set other official visits when he gets around to it. Defensive tackle Caleb Williams of Chesterfield, Virginia, plans to be at USC for their spring game, and an official with the Gamecocks May 31st. He told 24/7 Sports he'll also visit Tennessee March 23rd, Texas A&M April the 6th. He also has set officials to Minnesota June 7th, Tennessee June 14th, Virginia Tech June 21st. Offensive tackle Zaire Addison of Riverview, Florida, who has an official to Clemson on May 31st, has also set officials to Oregon June 7th and Florida State June 21st. He's also down for an unofficial to Clemson on March the 11th. Other unofficial trips coming up: Alabama, Georgia Tech, Florida, Penn State, Nebraska, Colorado, Miami, Florida State, Florida, Oregon, Texas, Texas A&M. Updated visits from 2026 cornerback Smoke Matthews, Cornelius, North Carolina. Clemson on Saturday. NC State, March 28th. Penn State, March 29th. Tennessee, April 1st. West Virginia, April 3rd. And Miami, April 6th. Safety Otis Conandanny of Heathwood Hall made a visit to Clemson today, according to a social media post that he posted. Linebacker Kamar Archie, 6'1", 215 of Princeton, New Jersey. He plans to visit Clemson on Saturday. Athlete Caleb Lanier, who will visit Clemson unofficially this weekend, has sent officials to Duke for June 14th and Indiana June 21st. 2026 offensive lineman Maxwell Riley, 6'5", 263 of Avon Lake, Ohio, has set spring visits to Clemson March 9th, Alabama March 19th, Michigan State April 2nd, Notre Dame April 6th, Ohio State with a date to be determined. 2026 receiver Jordan Gidron, Ridgeview, plans to visit Clemson Saturday. 2026 receiver Carnell Warren, 6'3", 175 of Bluffton, plans to visit Clemson Saturday. 2026 offensive tackle Darius Gray, 6'4", 310 of Richmond, plans to visit Clemson Saturday. 2026 offensive tackle Leo Delaney of Charlotte plans to visit Clemson Saturday. 2026 receiver Tyreek King of Knoxville plans to visit Clemson on Saturday. Let's see what else I want to mention here that maybe I have not mentioned. I think I mentioned Lancaster offensive tackle Kevin P. visited Clemson Monday. He's going to Pitt March 28th, Maryland March 30th, Purdue April 11th, and Boston College April 30th. Offensive tackle Josh Petty plans to visit Clemson March 12th. He will also visit Georgia Tech on the 15th, Georgia the 16th, Auburn the 19th, Florida State the 29th. Defensive tackle Elijah Griffin has USC and Clemson in his top 12. The others on the list are Alabama. Coach Mike Furry has offered some receivers. Kalick Lockett, 6'2", 175 of Dallas. Isaiah Mosey, 6'1", 185, Lee Summit, Missouri. Des Jones, 6 feet, 180, Wayne, New Jersey. Cooper Perry. Cock offered receiver. Dajir Carter, 6 feet, 180, Woodbury Forest, Virginia. Plans to visit for the spring game. Hammond tight end Mike Taylor was by Boston College. The offensive tackle Shed Surratt, offered by Florida State. 2026 receiver Darwin Murph of Irmo was offered this week by Alabama and by Miami. A little more quick notes. So stand by. Stand by. Let's see if I had a couple of other quick notes. 2026 wide receiver Tyreek King of Knoxville plans to visit Clemson on Saturday. Did I have that before? I did have that before. So I had that before. Okay, I think we're good. I think
Very
we're
nice.
good. That is it. That is it for recruiting. Brought to you by
Do you know if the player from Riverview, Florida, is that the one near Pensacola, which is about 20 minutes from here? I could go up and chat for you with him. Or is it the one south of Tampa, which is a long way from here, and I wouldn't get a chance to go chat with him?
See, that one is that the one that's near Sefner, Florida? Yeah, I think this kid is in the town of Riverview, Florida. And Zaire Addison, he goes to Sumner High School in Riverview. So there's a Riverview High School that's in that's outside of Tampa, I think.
Okay.
Anyway, you can go see him. Take your time.
Yeah, I could run by there on the way out of town tomorrow.
We would appreciate the efforts. All right, last night we couldn't get it on the air. We didn't finish up early enough. Dabo Sweeney met with the media up there after the Wednesday spring practice, which was the end of their first week of spring ball. And he was there to update everybody on how things have been going. Here's some of what he had to say.
Today was kind of a first time to let them play, even though it was kind of a half practice, half live practice. And today, all situations, just reintroducing them to all of that. And then Friday we'll start our clinic tomorrow. So we got a lot going on this week. We got clinic tomorrow and Friday, and we got junior day this weekend. We got a barbecue this weekend with our former players. So big practice day on kind of a clinic type practice day on Friday, and then another half practice, half scrimmage on Saturday, and getting them ready for a full scrimmage next Wednesday. So it's been good. This is a really competitive group, and I like their hunger. I like their mentality of where they are right now, and we just got to keep showing up and keep trying to make each day count.
Thoughts on Wesco now that you've seen him a few?
Yeah, I mean he's what we hoped he'd be. He's a natural. Probably the biggest. I mean, you rarely one of those guys from a talent standpoint are you shocked, when they get here as far as running and jumping and athleticism, change of direction, all that type of stuff. Usually as much recruiting as we do and evaluation and seeing him in person, you don't miss often on that. I think the biggest thing that I think is a plus for him that's not always the case with guys is he's got a mentality to go with it. He's got a mindset that he's very mature. He's a very mature, young player. Still got a lot to get better at and all that stuff, but he's a natural at what he does, and he likes to be coached. He likes to learn. I think, right now we got him in just one spot, trying to just get his feet on the ground, and he's picks things up well. But I've been really pleased with him. It's been he's made a couple nice plays today, as a matter of fact. So he's off to a good start. But again, sometimes you see guys, they got all the talent, man. They can run, they can jump, they can change direction, but their maturity doesn't match the talent, right? As I always say, maybe the commitment's not quite. The talent's greater than the commitment, and he's a kid that he's a really focused, very mature. He's very talented, but he's really committed. His commitment's greater than the talent, and when you have that, you got a chance to get the attention of everybody early. He's done that.
Far along is he in terms of his physical development? Is that still something?
Yeah, that's a process he's going to go through. He's made some progress just since he's gotten here in January, but that'll be a ongoing process for him for the next couple of years. He's just a young body that's got to physically mature and develop, but he's in progress of that, and he's a worker. He takes to it. Again, he's very committed, so he's very self-aware of what he knows he needs to do as far as just building his body out a little bit. But it's not something that happens overnight. But he holds up just fine. Hunter Renfrow wasn't ever very big. I don't think he ever weighed more than about 175 pounds here, and he held up okay. It's how you can use what you have, and but Hunter was about 155 when he got here, so 175 for him. He was Hulk, right? And so Wesco is in a much better starting point from that. He's 170 something, I guess, but he'll keep progressing there. A long way to go till August, and I think he'll make a big jump. That's one of the reasons I like to go early, spring, is I like for these guys. We get out of school early in May, that first week, so I like for these guys to get a good 3 weeks of post-spring training and really create that momentum going into the summer. So that'll be big for him.
Sammy Brown's development so far.
Really good. Same thing I would say about Wesco. He's a natural football player, very serious about it, very committed. He's a kid that, like I said, he's just about his business all the time. And we're got it, just like we're doing with Wesco. We got him in one spot right now, trying to just get him locked in on that. He actually he missed a good bit of the scrimmage because he had a I think it was a math test he had to go to, and then he's not going to be here Friday. He's got to go to Atlanta for the Maxwell Awards. He's being presented with that, and so he needs to be there for that. But he'll be out there on Saturday ready to roll. But he's done well. That whole group. I'm pleased with all those freshmen. I think it's 2 years in a row that we've brought in a lot of mature young guys that I think are really serious about it, and so Sammy's definitely one of those guys. Yeah, he just strained his quad. He had three or four really, really good days. Really pleased with him. Kind of picked up where he left off. He kind of finished the season with a lot of confidence, and he's carried that into the off season, and then really off to a really good start with spring ball, and just on a go ball the other day, just a little tweak in his quad, nothing serious. So just trying to be smart with him so it doesn't linger or lead to anything else. So he's kind of day to day.
Noticed the other day while we were out there, Troy kind of pulled up a little bit. Is he okay?
Troy's always banged up. Always. I've never seen him when something's not hurting on him. He's got a hurt thumb or finger or something, but he battles through. He's a tough kid. but he's actually a guy that probably will not finish spring. We made a decision on him. He really needs he's nothing major, but he needs a little cleanup surgery. But we made the decision that he needed to really get. Or a fall camp since he's been here. So really important for him. I mean, it's not something he can't play with, but we need to get it cleaned up. I think we're getting 10 practices in before we break. So that was important and kind of the way we set it up. So he's going to get the majority of the spring, and then the timing of his surgery and what we need to do with him, we'll clean everything up so he's ready to go, full go, this summer. So we don't he can have the type of summer that he needs and be ready to go fall camp.
How's the center competition been stacking up so far?
It's been good. We got 3 guys that are really getting all the snaps. Really 4. Chap Pendergrass is getting some snaps in there as well. So solid. I mean, all 3 of those guys are battling. Got a long way to go. It's now that we're getting into some live type of stuff, it starts getting easier to evaluate. So we'll ramp it up. Again on Saturday, and we'll do a little. I think we got 1 live period on Friday, but half practice on Saturday, and then a full scrimmage next Wednesday. So, they're battling.
Can you give an update on Ian Reed? I guess some of the medical stuff he was dealing with has been resolved.
Yeah, he's back out there. I mean, he had a tough fall. I mean, he missed weeks and weeks and weeks with his situation. It's something he's dealt with from his whole life, really, from his childhood on, kind of a immunity type of thing. But he's actually doing really good. I'll tell you what, that sucker's tough. He's competitive. He don't back down. I'd say he's a guy that's caught Matt's eye early, just from his toughness. And again, he missed a ton of time this fall. But he's doing a lot better. It seems like they've gotten everything, back in a good spot and regulated and stuff. But football is very important to that kid. And that's one thing I can say about him. He's big, he can move, but he cares. He really does care. And I think all those guys that we signed last year fit that. I really do. I'm proud of Flapjack. Big Zach, he's still a work in progress, but man, he's made a lot of progress from where he was this time last year to where he is right now, night and day. I mean, literally night and day. In fact, this time last year, I was like, well, we'll see him next year, and if he works, then we'll like what we see. If he doesn't, gonna be more than the same. But he's a work in progress, the opposite of Wesco, and he's come a long way, and still got another jump we need to make with him between now and August. But I'd say the same thing about him and Ian. Harris obviously came in and played and helped us last year, but I'd say the same thing about him and Ian. They both really care, and they're both freaking tough. And I love that about both, and they're big. So, 2 young guys that are going to battle all spring.
Dabo, he's getting all bowed up about some of his players there, Chris. He's getting excited about a number of those guys. I think he thinks he's got some special players. He's already said Klubnik's the man at quarterback. Don't ask him who's the number 1 quarterback. Don't ask him who's going to be the starter. There is no competition at quarterback at Clemson, so he's putting it all in there, and he thinks Wesco. They think that Wesco's going to be the next big thing at wide receiver, along with improvement in the guys returning, and Strong at tight end. You heard him talk about his offensive line. I think they're going to be as good as they've been on the offensive line in a number of years, and of course, Strong at running back. If their offense gets up to par to where it's expected to be to go with that defense, they could have a real chance next year. Yeah.
No doubt. And I'll go ahead and say what Don Munson is thinking from a radio perspective. Please let Zachariah Owens get on the field. Anybody with the nickname Flapjack has to play football, right? I mean, he's got to play. I hope he does. That would be so much fun seeing a kid out there, Flapjack, make it a stop. I mean, the NIL stuff writes itself. I mean, if IHOP is not all over him, Flapjack, pancakes, I don't know what he's doing.
That's a good fit. Why don't you call him up? All right, golf. We got the first round of the Arnold Palmer Invitational in Orlando today. And Shane Lowry, 6 under 66. Justin Lauer and Hideki Matsuyama, they are at 5 under 67. Russell Henley, Lee Hodges, Sam Burns, and Sahith Thagata, they're at 4 under par. And some other scores. You got Will Zalatoris at 3 under, and Justin Thomas at 3 under, and Jordan Spieth, who rolled in a birdie on 18. He finishes at 3 under. Jason Day's at 2 under. Scotty Scheffler's at 2 under. Colin Morikawa, he's at 2 under. And you've got Lucas Glover playing in this one. He's at 73 plus 1. Rory McIlroy, 73. Adam Scott, 73. Ricky Fowler, 75. I'm going to bring this up with George tomorrow night on birdies, bogeys, and biceps. But I was thinking about this watching golf. Since the end of the Tiger Woods reign, like every sport, when the superstar, he hasn't retired, of course, but he's not winning. So the end of his winning days, per se, I'm sure golf was hoping that somebody would step up and fill the void of being the guy.
Sure.
To be the,
no doubt.
the magnetic, the big persona guy. Rory McIlroy was that guy. That was his window of opportunity to win over the world of golf and be Tiger of the next era. He's got the personality. He's got the swagger. He's got the game, but he doesn't have the wins.
Right.
And that's just hard to understand because he's great and he fills out all the other boxes, but he's got to win. One thing Tiger did, no matter what, he won. When he was at his greatest, he won. And McIlroy, he's not good at holding leads, and he's not winning. He's not winning the big events. He's not winning enough of them. He might win 1 or 2 a year, but if you're going to grab the world of golf, you got to win a bunch like Tiger did. This was his opportunity to do it, and it's slipping away from him.
I've watched Roy for a long time. I love his game because when he swings the golf club, there is no one with a prettier swing in all of golf. And he can just mash the ball and hit it well over 300 yards. But his wedge game is kind of iffy at times, and I think that hinders him. But I'm like you, Phil. I don't understand why he doesn't have about 8 majors under his belt already. And the problem golf has, they've got a guy who's really, really consistent and wins a lot, Scotty Scheffler. But the problem is I don't think he's got that big-time personality that Tiger had. The one thing about Tiger, he grabbed the attention because he was unique. Now, I wasn't a big fan, and it wasn't his fault. It was just the way the media thrust him on us. But, Tiger grabbed the attention because of his skill. He was unique. He won all the time. He checked all the boxes. And Scotty Scheffler's the guy that can do that. But I'm not sure the PGA Tour will be able to promote a guy like Scotty J. It's not his fault. It's just his makeup. He's not a big, boisterous personality. But if you watch him play, it's hard to argue with his game.
No, you're right about that. His game is all of that. But yeah, he doesn't have that flamboyancy. But Tiger, was like Michael Jordan. He was cool without having to push it. It just came out of him. Coolness just came out of him. Michael Jordan never had to try to be cool. He just was, Yep. Some people think they're cool, but they have to try to be cool. Those two never had to try, Okay, that'll do it. Thank you, Chris. Safe trip home tomorrow.
Thank you. Yes, and I will talk to you guys on Monday. Be back home in the friendly confines of Sardis.
Looking forward to it. Thank you, Josh.
Yep.
And thank you, everybody. Have a great night. See you tomorrow.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107.